We've set up framework in a smart way so that it doesn't create instances of matcher and resolver within the code itself. Instead, we're passing those objects into it. This is called dependency injection, and we'll talk more about that in a little bit. But basically, by doing this, we're then able to pass other types of objects, in this case mock objects, that aren't going to trip up our testing of the framework class, instead of what we would normally use when we want a fully functional application. This is throwing an error though, and if we take a look at our framework class, I'm going to open up framework.php in our examples, you see that in the constructor, we've type hinted it to use URL matcher and controller resolver as the two parameters. Now though, we're basically passing instances of our interfaces instead. And so in order to support the testing, we need to set the type hint to match the interface rather than the actual class that we're going to be using. So if you go to the resource pack directory and go to your steps, let's open up the 44th step, which is adding use of interface to allow for testing. We'll copy this and we'll paste it over our framework.php code and save it. And the only thing that we've changed here is that we're using URL matcher interface and controller resolver interface here. We also have to make sure that we're using the namespaces to use these class names directly. And the reason we can do this is that URL matcher, not URL matcher interface, URL matcher is a descendant of URL matcher interface. It inherits from that class. So the type hinting actually works because not only is it an instance of URL matcher, it's also an instance of URL matcher interface. And now if we go back to the command line and we run our tests again with PHP unit, we'll see a nice green here. Okay, so this is good.